a reflection on Matthew chapter 15, verses 21 to 28. If you were to ask me to create a list of all the New Testament passages I'd like to write a reflection on, today's story from Matthew's Gospel of Jesus' interaction with the Canaanite woman would comfortably be at the very bottom, with the possible exception of the bit where Jesus gets cross with a fig tree for seemingly no reason at all. There's a temptation that we could skim over this one, to put it down to a translation error or chalk it up to some regional, ancient religious practices that we don't quite understand the context of. But we probably shouldn't do that. Let's face it, Jesus doesn't come across very well in this story. After reaching the region of Tyre and Sidon, which for reference is very much non-Jewish territory, Jesus is almost immediately confronted by a Gentile woman who asks him to heal her daughter. He ignores her, but yet she persists, and in the face of his disciples urging him to send the woman away, she continues to ask for help. And then he says it. Jesus looks at the woman asking for help and compares her to an annoying dog sniffing around the table while the people are eating. He says that he has come to help the lost sheep of Israel and questions why he should take the bread saved for them and toss it to her. I imagine the disciples were a little shocked. I know I wouldn't know how to respond to that, but thankfully the persistent woman does. Even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table, she says. Suddenly the tone of the encounter changes. Jesus praises the woman's great faith and sends her on her way, having already healed her daughter from where he was sitting. Despite the discomfort, I'd like to suggest there are two ways we can look at this. I suspect, if you're anything like me, that we subconsciously put ourselves in Jesus' position far more than we put ourselves in the place of the woman asking for help. We can be quick to find annoyance in the interruptions of the day. We can see the differences between us and others more than the similarities that we share. We can look down on those who are not like us, whether they vote for a different political party, follow a different understanding of God, or are desperately crossing the English Channel in a rubber dinghy in search of something that they do not have. We ignore and rebuke, rather than listen and love. But in truth, I suspect we're far more like the Canaanite woman than we are the Lord of Lords and King of Kings. Maybe over the past few months, we might have come to realise that our relative security is not as unbreakable as we thought it was. We have seen how tragedy and illness can strike indiscriminately and unexpectedly. Rather than focusing on the finer points of Jesus' retort, we should look to the woman who knelt before the Lord and asked him for the tiniest crumb from his table, for she knew that would be enough to satisfy and to heal. The Canaanite woman is an example to us of a person of great faith. May we kneel before the Lord this week, desperate for a crumb that satisfies our soul.